Hello and welcome back. This is going to be another Divine Partnership Coaching video. And this time I want to approach a topic that I know all of us have asked at one point in time or another, and that I'm seeing come up in some of the comments, especially with the channeled messages from the DM that I've been doing, about, are you the Karmic? Or are you the Divine Femme? Or the Divine Masculine? This is an interesting question to answer, because in my experience, it is a yes and a no. And it really depends, because if you're on a twin flame journey, it's an interesting experience that we humans have co-manifested together. And if you have not yet healed enough to recognize the difference between love and limerence, it is very easy to get confused about who your twin flame is. And just in terms of like if you feel like you've been on the divine feminine journey and you've had a divine masculine who has been wrapped up in a karmic third-party situationship, it can be sometimes easy on this side to be like, well, duh, how are you confusing it? But it's not that easy. And there are plenty of divine feminines who, in the process of healing and thinking that their divine masculine is, that is a certain person, will sometimes get to the point to where they've healed enough to recognize that they've been interacting with the karmic all along, and that actually that journey itself is what healed them enough to be open to and ready for their divine masculine to come in. And it happens the same on the other side too with divine masculines. Like a lot of them get confused because they'll get lined up with a false flame, which means that they're lined up with a karmic who's likely an unhealed divine feminine, or as Divine Maverick says, divine feminine in reverse, right? And that's as well their divine masculine in reverse. And they definitely check her out, by the way. Divine Maverick is freaking amazing. But they are a twin flame for someone else, and that's why part of what makes this collective co-manifestation very interesting is that if you are lined up with a karmic and you are a twin flame, then you are likely lined up with someone who is a twin flame for somebody else, and you guys are learning karmic lessons together to help be ready for your twins. And if your twin is lined up with a karmic, that person is likely also a twin flame for someone else, and they are learning karmic lessons to do that. Now, with that complication in the information, it's also important to recognize that if you've already met your twin flame and you're in separation, or you're not yet together, it's because you are interacting in a karmic way. I think part of the confusion is that we associate karmic or karma with a negative element. No, it's not. There are plenty of karmics even who they're not necessarily twin flames, but they're soulmates, and they're not toxic. And karmics are not always people either. They could be addictions, they can be like including workaholism, they can be childhood wounds, they can be family, they can be friends, they can be coworkers. Like, it's not always, well, I guess I just listed a bunch of people. They could be bad diet, it could be not taking care of ourselves, it can be attachment traumas, things like that. Like, karmics are not always people, but when it comes to people, we often assume that a karmic is a negative entity, and that's not always true. Sometimes a karmic is somebody who comes in and shows us how to be more loving of ourselves, of others, things like that. I mean, even my DM's main karmic, like I would definitely say that they've got a lot of healing to do. However, in their own like toxicities and anxieties and demandingness, they're actually helping to teach my DM how to see himself and how to recognize where he's been toxic and things like that. So I think we need to be careful to separate the difference between karmic and toxic, because they're not always aligned. And that's a thing to recognize, because if you guys separated, or you didn't come back together right away, or maybe you just met them and they're not like jumping right in with you, and you're questioning, am I the karmic? Is it me? Like if you're listening to some of the channeled messages where DMs are talking about karmics doing this and doing that, or if you're listening to readings where they're talking about karmics are trying to pull them in and trying to get them here and get them there and to do that, and the DM or DF is feeling really pulled because they love the karmic, they love their DF, and you're seeing all these different interactions and you're going, am I the karmic? It's likely because you still have things to heal, and you can be interacting as the karmic or as a karmic in terms of lessons. And so I think sometimes readers will pick up on both energies, and we do switch back and forth, not in terms of like, if you're somebody's twin flame, you don't switch back and forth. Like the karmic that they're with doesn't suddenly sometimes become their divine feminine, but they are a human being and they are also on a twin flame journey. And so they do have moments of being in their divine feminine energy or their divine masculine energy, just as you do. So there are going to be times when you're going to be called to a reading that is kind of a call out for you. Like, if you are constantly trying to get your DM or DF's attention, if you're withdrawing your energy just to get them to talk to you, if you're in a negative mind space and over focusing on what's going on in the 3D between them and any karmics that they're with, or you're feeling devalued because they're not talking with you or giving you the level of attention that you deserve, things like that, you're in karmic energy. Like it's not a judgment thing. It's not like, oh, you're bad, now you're karmic. No, it's a reflection. It's if you know that the person that you're interacting with is your twin flame and you are not in union, it's because the universe and your 5D selves, yours and theirs, are saying you got stuff to work on, and there will remain a distance and a block between you, whether you live with them or you live at a distance from them or you're in completely different countries or anything. If there is a distance between you, and then there are things for you to work on. And so it's weird to answer the question, are you the karmic? Or am I the karmic? Because if you're asking that question, it's likely that the universe has shown you enough stuff reflecting on your own behavior that you could be in karmic energy. Now, that also doesn't necessarily mean that you're not the karmic, but I don't want you to get to a point to where you're like, oh my gosh, I could be the karmic, that means I'm a horrible, evil person. No. That's not true. There are plenty of karmics who are subscribers to my channel and to many of the readers that I listen to also. And I think that shows that actually those of us who have been in karmic energy, like, we're trying to get up and out of it. And if you are subscribing to channels where you're hearing things that are reflecting what you're doing, and especially if you know your twin's karmic, and it seems like, well, wait a minute, if the reader is picking up and saying that the things that I'm doing are karmic energy, then it's good to look at that and say, maybe it is. Am I being overly needy? Am I waiting for 3D confirmations? Am I over-focused on apologies or the way that my twin is behaving? Am I looking at how I'm behaving? Am I looking at how I feel? Am I attaching how I feel? Am I attaching the power of that to whether or not they're behaving in a way that I think is appropriate? Because if you're in that space, you are likely in karmic energy. Now, if you're... the harder thing is, I often tell people, I get a lot of people that come to me and they go, okay, so there's somebody that I'm feeling really, really called to, and I don't know whether they're a karmic for me or they're my twin flame. And what I always say is, if they're a karmic, and it does end up being, for one thing, that doesn't mean it'll be a bad relationship. It just means that it won't last. And last is objective too. Like, that could last could be a week or it could be 10 years for all you know. But it's not a bad thing. Like, we get afraid of getting into relationships because we might get hurt. And that is something that needs to be healed. So yes, You could get in with somebody who is a karmic, and that could hurt, yes, but that will help you heal certain things that will help you be ready for your twin flame, if that's the journey that you feel you're on and that you choose. Like, nobody's forcing you to be on this journey. Now, I will say, it's more likely that you are a karmic to somebody that you're thinking about if you feel like you, how would I even put it? If you feel like you need to be with them. If you feel like you, well, how about this? If you look at your reflection and you see that you are doing mean things and justifying them because of the behavior of somebody else, you're in karmic energy. If you are feeling victimized by the world or by who you think is your DM or DF, you're in karmic energy. If you are over-focusing on other people and not focusing on your own journey and bringing love and light into the world, and dancing with your darknesses too, like, it's all in there. But if you're not working to alchemize old patterns and behaviors, and you're justifying doing toxic things because you don't have enough money, or you are afraid that no one will love you, or you're afraid that you'll just get hurt, or I don't know. I mean, it's just along those lines of thinking. I actually have a hard time going there anymore. I used to go in there a fair amount, into the karmic energy, and now I'm kind of at the point to where I can feel this block in my brain, like, don't go there so much. But that's not a bad thing, and I think that's kind of the difference. Like, when you're in divine energy, you're getting more aligned with your inner being. I definitely recommend checking out Abraham Hicks videos and Eckhart Tolle videos to help get aligned with your inner being. It's your connection with spirit, it's your connection with yourself, and the more you have connection with that, the less you feel like you require a connection with somebody in the 3D. It doesn't mean that goes away, and it's okay to feel lonely, and it's okay to feel vulnerable, and it's okay to miss your person, and it's okay to have some jealousies and envies, but look at how are you acting on it, and what is the stories that you're telling yourself in your mind. Someone who's in divine energy doesn't look at their twin in a relationship with someone else and go, oh, that must mean that I'm not good enough, or that I'm losing, or that I need to make them jealous, or I need to make them talk to me, no. Divine energy is like, they're learning lessons. Yes, I want them next to me. Yes, I miss them. But I'm going to work on me. I'm going to enjoy this time. I'm going to look at what I can do to enjoy my own life and maybe better the world around me if I can. And I just saw 12:34 on the timers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to look for ways to ascend. I'm going to look for ways to grow. I'm going to look for ways to be awesome. Going that direction is better. When you're in karmic energy, you're constantly triangulating yourself and comparing yourself to other people, and other people feel like threats. Like, if you feel like the person you believe is a karmic to you and or your twin is a threat, or could possibly keep your person, or you're doing anything in terms of trying to separate them or create interference, you're in karmic energy. Are you the karmic? I cannot say. I think that's really where we get to it. You cannot say that definitively, but if you're seeing things or hearing things that make you question if you're the karmic, simply look at it in a sense of you're in karmic energy. There's a reason that it's being called to your attention. You need to heal some things. And so don't worry about so much about whether or not you're a karmic, because you're always going to be karmic for somebody and matched for somebody else, whether it's your divine masculine or divine feminine. It could also be somebody in your soul tribe, divine brothers and sisters, things like that. And work on that. Don't get focused on, am I karmic or am I not? And don't always attach karmic to toxic. Sometimes we are karmic to others in the sense of helping them see what healthy boundaries look like, or what it's like to be okay with being happy when others aren't. It's not always a bad thing. All right, well, I'm going to end this here, and let me know if you have any specific questions. I know I'm definitely going to do a few more videos on this topic, but I hope that this at least helped a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.